So the third and final candidate for the mayor of the city of Scranton that we'll be talking to this morning is somebody well known to a lot of folks in this room, Gene Barrett, who's been a part of the city for many years in a number of different ways. And so as we dive into this, I'd like to just, Gene, give you the opportunity, and you've got that mic there, for some opening thoughts, opening remarks, and then we'll jump into some questions.
Good morning. Gene Barrett. I'm running for mayor. I want to be your mayor. That's all I want to be. I don't want any other job except being mayor of the city of Scranton. By way of introduction, as far as the experience and qualifications are concerned, I've been involved for over 40 years in the public sector and private sector, several businesses in Scranton, and many boards and commissions over the years I've served on. I was on city council for 2 terms. I was the economic community development director for several years before taking a similar position in Danbury, Connecticut, and then coming back here in 1985 when I was called by, at that time, Ralph Loma, now deceased, and Jerry Weinberger, who many of you know, to come back and consider a position in the private sector here in Scranton. And so we came back from Danbury, Connecticut. I've spent over 7 years on active duty in the United States Army. As an enlisted man, I obtained the rank of Staff Sergeant. And during that period of time, I spent 2.5 years in Germany in a Advanced Weapons Support Command dealing with missiles at that particular point in time in my Army career. Sometime after that, I attended the Non-Commissioned Officers Drill Sergeant Academy Leadership School at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and was a distinguished graduate of that school. Further on in my military career, I was an instructor at the Advanced Officers class for military intelligence at Fort Huachuca, Arizona. Advanced officers are captains and majors that are climbing the ladder, attempting to become colonels, and so on in their career. If they stay in and they get even a more rank as they go on, eventually they wind up at the Army War College in Carlisle. So that was my military career. I got out in the late 70s and came back to Scranton and walked into City Hall. True story. Many of you would not remember this particular gentleman. Some will. Phil. A fellow by the name of Bernie Blyer hired me in the Office of Economic and Community Development, and within 2 years I was running that particular program. I worked very strongly at that particular point in time for several years with Metro Action at the Chamber of Commerce. We did a lot of projects together. We took over the option for the Lackawanna Station Hotel and developed that along with the Chamber of Commerce. We brought Steamtown USA from Bellows Falls, Vermont, to the abandoned Conrail yards in Scranton. We participated in building the road to Montage. The Montage Inc. was in a jam after 2 years of an environmental fight. They had lost a substantial amount of their funding opportunities, and we participated. If you're coming in the North Scranton Expressway in the evening, all you see are the lights up at the top of Montage Mountain where the snow mountain is, all right? After that road was built, you know what happened. You have the baseball stadium, you have Glenmara, all the office buildings, amphitheater, all that development, all that happened after that road was built. Prior to that, it was just virgin forest. So I have a substantial amount of experience in economic development and moving projects forward, including my own in the private sector and also in the public sector. Thank you.
Sorry, need to grab my glasses. All right, well, Gene, I'm glad you ended on the reference to economic development, because obviously that's the most important thing from the Chamber of Commerce perspective. Let's touch on any other ideas you have. We talked about your experience. What would you do as mayor right now and moving forward to attract and retain business for Scranton?
I don't watching this over the last several years, it seems to me that the city, Scranton in particular, is just flat as a pancake. I mean, there's nothing really exciting or creative happening, nothing really progressive. There are many opportunities, I think, that can be taken, redevelopment opportunities. I look at the part ownership of the Ferrario property on the western end of the 200 block of Wyoming Avenue. That should not be as empty as it is for all these years. I've talked to them about their potential ideas as far as redevelopment of that particular site is concerned. But it seems to me that whatever the city is getting, in particular for COVID funding, that's all they do. They're not out there creating opportunities for economic development. They're not really creative at all about just bringing some very progressive opportunities that are out there that are lost. Now, we all know that the Tops chewing gum left Scranton because of a structural issue with the building. Perhaps you know that or don't know it. It's my understanding from talking to people that were involved, higher ups within that particular business, that they received no assistance whatsoever from the city of Scranton. Now, my focus is not that narrow. They moved right into music. So I'm sure that almost probably all the people that worked at Tops for all those years are still employed in music. So my focus is not that narrow, but something should have been done to assist either in a temporary relocation. You can come up with some urban renewal laws. That particular law is still on the books. You can combine it with state, federal funding, first assistance through the Pennsylvania. There are creative ways, they're not even creative. There are opportunities out there for funding sources that should have been offered to that particular company for them to remain in Scranton. So you've lost the tax base, you've lost the wage tax, all those other things that go along with it, the goods and services. But again, they're right across the street from in music, so a lot of that isn't lost. But there should have been something done, okay? There should have been direct contact with that company to assist them in the problems that they were having. So now we got an empty shell of a building. It's sitting there. I don't know how long. It'll probably just be sitting there for quite some time. So I just don't see that enthusiasm. I don't see that creativeness. And I know it can be done. We were involved in many projects. Yes, it was years ago, but I don't see that creativeness or willingness to go beyond what is normally given to the city of Scranton as far as funding sources are concerned. Also, just as a continuation, with all the technologies that are out there today, and like these different groups, the Northeast Industrial Group and so on and so forth, I think there should be more of a partnership between the Chamber of Commerce, the Scranton School District, Johnson College, and all that, trying to tie in what's best for the youth coming out of our high schools. Is college the answer to everything? Certainly not, and I think we're seeing that and learning that. So we've got to be able to mainstream those children coming out of high school into more of these technologically advanced, hands-on kind of experience issues, as opposed to funneling them right into college.
Gene, one of the most important things that the Chamber looks at every year and tries to work towards in terms of influencing public policy is under infrastructure. City of Scranton obviously has a big role in infrastructure in a number of different realms: roads, sidewalks, lighting, broadband as well. Your thoughts on what you as mayor could do to enhance the infrastructure needs of the city of Scranton?
The infrastructure, obviously, as we all know, is well over 100 years old. What I did mention was I was chairman of the board of the Scranton Sewer Authority for 7 years. Executive director is 10 years. I participated in overseeing the sale of the Scranton Sewer Authority. It was sold for $195 million. Aqua America, the second bidder, was $175 million. We had an A-minus bond rating from Standard & Poor's with a positive outlook. But that particular infrastructure, one of the main things that we were involved with was the combined sewer overflow plan, which was a long-term plan to prevent the combination of stormwater and sanitary waste combining and going into the river when the piping network could not handle the event in a heavy rainfall event. I'm very, very familiar with infrastructure. I own the steam heat company. We built a hot and chill water plant down at the Steamtown National Historic Site. European designed. It was not connected to the steam system. I know about infrastructure. I know about piping. I know about production plants. And AI right now is in the horizon here, right in front of us, throughout Lackawanna County in particular, and the questions about that. But what I see lacking is on stormwater in particular, which is a major problem here. We had done a very thorough stormwater management plan. In fact, we were doing most of the stormwater management for the city of Scranton because they didn't have the ability to do it themselves. And actually it benefited the sewer authority because it was less water coming into the combined system. So I don't see the city administration had done a stormwater program, management program, hired a private consultant, when right across the hall from the mayor's office in the temporary Scranton Sewer Authority office after sale was a 120-page report that mirrored what they went out and paid for again, unnecessarily. So I think the stormwater management plan or program is lackluster at best and not timely, and it continues on. So I think that's one of the biggest things that needs to be addressed, stormwater management. It wreaks havoc on both businesses and residents throughout the city, and it needs to be a much more robust program than it is now.
So Gene, again, because of a short window of time we have to deal with, we'll roll into some of your closing remarks, but in doing so, can you address from your perspective and the potential of your being the mayor, how would you deal with, or how do you see the city playing a role in dealing with the healthcare challenges that we're facing here in the city of Scranton with CHS and related hospital and healthcare concerns?
Someone characterized, I live up at Nayock Park on Arthur Avenue. The residents up there were not opposed to the expansion of Geisinger, not at all. The mayor chose not to participate in that particular issue a few short years ago, saying that our neighborhood was just a small neighborhood and she had an entire city to worry about. All the mayor had to do at that particular point in time was sit down with the neighbors in the hospitals and broker out an agreement. All we wanted was to go from 100 feet to 80 feet. Instead of 10 stories, 8 stories. That's all we wanted. And nothing more and nothing less. So if one considers Geisinger, the University of Scranton, Allied, Lackawanna College, Marywood College, the federal buildings, the state buildings, were they not there, I mean, forget about it. It'd be like a dust bowl here. So we're not against health care. The neighbors weren't against health care. Certainly, that's one of the most popular and better things that we have in this Lackawanna County is health care. So we want to see health care advanced. Certainly, I do. As mayor, I will continually move forward as best we can with the health care institutions, assist them in our best possible way, and also tie that into that overall educational facility and ideas to tie them in mainstream what we can of our youth coming into that particular area if that's the direction that they want to go in.
So any other final thoughts, comments?
No, I think in concluding, if I look at the current mayor, the mayor wants to be run for Congress. She stated her intentions in a little after Labor Day, and should she run for Congress, should she win the mayorship or not win the mayorship and run for Congress, then what happens at that particular point in time? Do we really want another show that's going on for the past 7 or 8 months in the vacancy in the county? I don't think so. Do the voters of Scranton want, if the mayor leaves, do the voters in Scranton want a few elected officials choose who's going to be the mayor during that interim period? I don't think so, because then the voters won't have had a choice, all right? And again, we don't want another situation that we're seeing transpire over the last 7 or 8 months at the county level with the vacancy with the commissioner's office. I'm running for mayor. I don't need the job, but I want the job. I feel that with all the qualifications and experience, I can do it. I can do it much better than it's being done now. And I'm basically asking the people to consider all of that and elect me as mayor of the city of Scranton.
Thank you, Gene.